Hello and welcome to this week's issue of BRN United. I'm delighted to welcome to our weekly blog Dr. Kevin Roberts. Kevin was elected as the president of our Baptist Convention at our annual meeting just a couple weeks ago. He serves as a pastor in the Charleroi area. So welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And thank you for letting us kind of barge into a busy day as we're getting ready for Thanksgiving to let us chat a little bit. You know, a lot of folks, of course, know you because you served as our first vice president for several years. But for those who don't, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, a little bit about your family.
Well, I'm a pastor's kid, and my dad pastored for 51 years, and he groomed me and mentored me for ministry. Didn't know what that ministry was going to be later in life. I served 15 years as a youth pastor, and then God called me to the pastorate. And during that time, I was single. I met my wife, and Debbie and I have been married for 17 years this Sunday.
Wow.
We have two children. My son Kevin is 15. My daughter Elsa is 8. And we have been at Charleroi for 13 years. So.
Now, when you first came, the church was named Charleroi Baptist Church, and you've changed the name more recently. Tell us a little bit about kind of what happened with that.
That's a great question. We actually came into a vision meeting to kind of look at church planting and reaching communities around us. And so we felt that one of the ways we could better help plant a church, at least for our particular area, was to adopt a name that could be almost synonymous with the ministries that we would perhaps plant in nearby communities. So we chose Community Baptist Church as our title, so that whatever community that church we planted would be able to assimilate the same name, and yet be connected with family that was part of that birthing process. So
Wow. So it really became a name that kind of identifies a network that's emerging out of the church.
Correct.
Yeah, that's excellent. Now, something else, Kevin, that I know that you've served bivocationally from time to time while at Charleroi. And about 75% of our pastors are serving bivocationally. And sometimes they think, well, you know, we're kind of this, you know, forgotten minority on the sideline, when really they are the majority.
Correct.
And now the president of our convention personally understands that. What were some of the kind of the lessons or the challenges that you've experienced being a bivocational pastor?
Yeah, you know what, and I'm sure that everybody has their own story, but for me, it was balancing. And when I say balancing breathing and praying and not worrying so much about that work. Bivocational work is a challenge. It is. It's really figuring out what components are going to work best. But for me, it really was taking that time to really prioritize my walk, family, ministry, and that secular job. You know, we just prayed for opportunities that I could be in a position that would be very flexible. And so a lot of the jobs that I've done bivocationally have been that very strength, where they're very flexible. Not always the case, but I think if I were to offer any advice, it would be to breathe. I just think it's so important to breathe in the middle of that. And by that, I mean just understand that God put you here and He's got purpose and He's worked out the details.
Well, you know, it's a great opportunity, Kevin, to highlight how significant and important bivocational pastors are in our convention. You know, they represent the majority of our churches and pastors, and we as a resource network are really working hard to think about them as our audience rather than guys that have the privilege of serving full-time in a church. So it's great that you've got that background and you can help us and kind of coach us as a BRN staff to be mindful of the challenges in the context of bivocational ministry. Well, I know that we're just a few weeks away from our annual meeting, and you know, the glow of becoming the convention president is still, you know, beaming upon your face. So just for a few moments, kind of share what would be some of your hopes, dreams for our convention in this coming year as you serve as our president.
Well, it is an honor. It's a real honor to serve in this capacity, and I've watched this position from the sidelines for many years, never dreaming that God would have an appointment such as this for me. But if I were to look forward, and especially during this particular time as we are very close to a new director, executive director. And even where I serve in the West, we've come through some transition in just adjusting to doing ministry in a different way. I'm very excited to look forward and see that I see it as a year of complete dependency on God. It's not a thing where we can orchestrate things. These are God moments, and it's very exciting to be a part from this perspective in a leadership role, to see God working so intricately with so many people, so many churches, and just even the appointment of an executive director. That's a big thing, and I look forward to really good things. I see some real advancements in our convention, where I see churches coming together in ways, whether through prayer or communication and partnering with one another, that I've never seen in the years that we've served. So it's an exciting time.
Well, thank you, Kevin. We're honored to have you serve as our president. And thank you for joining us this week on Berean United. And I look forward to joining the group again next week as we share more about what God is doing across Penn South Jersey. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.